Hello lovelies, and welcome to An Angel's Life of Bookish Goodness. Today I'm doing the Pass It On tag, which was originally on the BaldBookGeek's channel, and I was tagged by Joshua Robertson. I have his link to his video in the comments below. The way this works is we're supposed to pick 3 books that we think that everyone should read and share those with you today. So the first book that I picked, and I apologize, these are all on e-reader, because that's mostly what I'm doing nowadays. But the first book is called The Jacq of Spades by Patricia Loofbourrow. And this is the first book in the Red Dog Conspiracy. It's a steampunk era, Victorian era type novel. It's Sherlock Holmes type, but with a female lead. I love the play on card decks that the author does in the series. And, the first book is called The Jacq of Spades. The second book is called The Queen of Diamonds. I'm looking forward to the third and fourth books. I loved it. For me, it was the first introduction into this steampunk world building, and I really enjoyed it. It has a lot of interesting stuff to offer, and I kind of feel like anybody who has thought about reading steampunk but was too afraid to read steampunk, I was there until I read this series. This is a great starting off point to get you interested in reading steampunk, because she does it so eloquently and so carefully that you don't feel like you're thrown into this whole weird world. So it was a really fun read. Definitely worth checking out. So the second book that I am recommending in the Pass It On book tag is called The Song and the Pendant by Magnus von Black. This one is a space opera. Again, another one of those genres that I was really nervous about reading, partly because, from what I had heard from friends and from what I'd seen from book covers, it just seemed kind of cheesy. And so I was nervous about that. Although now that I've read Jacq of Spades, I realized that there's a lot of steampunk aspects in The Song and the Pendant too. So I can't really say that Jacq of Spades was my first steampunk now. But anyway, so Song and the Pendant's absolutely amazing. If this is what space operas are like, then I definitely need to read more space operas. It is a huge book. It could easily have been probably divided into 2 or 3 books. It took me a couple of months to read, but I was eagerly reading it every single night. Magnus von Black is an incredible storyteller. He uses words in such a beautiful way. And if you're the kind of person who wants to just get right to the story and read through the story and, just character building is what matters to you and plot development is what matters to you, then this is not the book for you. But if you love words like I do, which is why Lexicomaniac is in my description tag, I love reading Magnus von Black's works because I learn new words. I find words that, as much as I love words, I didn't know before. And it's exciting and it's wonderful because, and this is something that's really important to understand, is that when an author does their job right, if you learn a new word, from the context of the sentence, you should understand what that word means. And Magnus nailed it. It was beautiful. I just absolutely loved it. On top of that, the story is this incredibly beautiful and touching story about this guy and this girl who are best friends, who go off to go to college together. Her parents are really conservative and they're really upset about the fact that she's going off to school with this guy. And then as they're flying across country to start this new adventure together, their plane crashes and they get sucked into an interdimensional portal that takes them to another world, which is very steampunk. Apparently, now that I read steampunk, I understand that that's what that was. But at the time that I was reading it, it was just this really cool other world. So anyway, and then you get to see them building their life in this new world with no hope of returning. There's this whole, there's a lot of philosophical questions. And I love how Magnus weaves in these political and philosophical questions into his work. It's really deep reading. It's really intense reading, and it reminds me of why I loved science fiction as a child. And lately, a lot of the science fiction I've been reading, it's been kind of tamed down. It's just about other worlds, but it doesn't ask those hard questions about our own society. And I feel like dystopian's kind of taken that niche because sci-fi got soft. And this does not do that. It's very bold in its statements, and it's very aggressive in its confrontations. And it doesn't leave you room to say, oh, well, we don't have to have an opinion on that, because every single piece plays directly into how this world shapes. So it's really awesome. Absolutely love it. Definitely everybody should read this book. All right, and then the third book that I want to recommend is Child of the Night Guild by Andy Peloquin. And Child of the Night Guild is a dark fantasy, and it's really impressive because Andy, I like reading books with hard issues. Andy Peloquin does an amazing job, one, of writing from the perspective of a child female in an ancient, fantastical world, dealing with some really hard issues that are, in a lot of ways, still issues for girls today. And he addresses it so beautifully. And then as that girl grows up in this world that's really hard, she's sold to the Thieves Guild in her town by her father after her mother dies. And she is the only girl in this group of trainees. And as they train together, she's the smallest, she's the weakest, she's the one that struggles the most, but she keeps fighting, and she keeps fighting, and she keeps fighting. And she comes up across bullies, and she deals with bullies, so he addresses that issue. And then when she graduates from being a trainee and moves into one of the houses of the Night Guild, she gets chosen by one of the most exclusive houses. They very rarely choose new members. And so that kind of puts a target on her back because she thinks she's better than everybody else, and then she gets chosen by a house that's better than anybody else. And some of those bullies that harassed her when she was in the training group seek her out further. Anyway, and then as a teenager, there's some other hard issues that he deals with, and he does it very gracefully while still being very real and gritty. And the way that the book ends, I screamed at my e-reader for like 10 minutes. I was so frustrated because I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this story, and it's going to be a series, and he's going to make me cry because I have to wait. So I can't wait to read the next book in the Thieves of the Night Guild series, and I absolutely love Ilana. She's just an amazing character and is so much fun to read. So definitely one that everybody should read right there, Andy Peloquin. All right, so those are my 3 recommendations. I will have links to learn more about them in the description below. I also have Josh's link in the description below, and I am going to tag the following BookTube channels. Hopefully they'll do this fun challenge as well. I'm tagging Steph's Rom Book Talk because I'm trying to get into more romance because some of my readers have expressed an interest, and so hopefully she's going to help me find some good romance books to read. A Bibliomaniac and Jacq's of Maybe Books, and the last tag is for McKinley's Bookshelf. So I've got links to their pages in the description as well, so if you want to go over and check out, hopefully they've done the challenge. And that's all for this time. Until next time, keep reading.